Hi, YouTube.
Okay, she's talking.
Hi, YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, turn on your notifications. Jack, do your thing.
I wasn't prepared. Just like most of you have not been prepared to press subscribe. 50% of you that watch our videos on YouTube aren't subscribed. What's up with that? Hit the subscribe button. And then even more of you don't even like the video. Thousands of views, thousands of likes. It costs you 0 cents to like the video.
Watch the video and like it, please.
Christ almighty.
What?
I can't figure out what's going on with my sweatshirt.
Why are you trying to tie it like that?
I don't know.
Who ties their sweatshirt strings? Where'd she go?
Oh.
Well, she's gone now. So.
Their computer die? Did she die?
I don't think she died.
Oh, she's back.
Okay.
What happened?
I'm going to be honest. It said this meeting is being recorded and I meant to press continue and somehow I pressed leave meeting. So I apologize.
That was almost the quickest podcast ever.
We're off to a good start. Okay, y'all ready?
I'm sure.
Hi, welcome to Unnecessary Roughness Barstool's college football podcast brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. This bowl season, no better way to celebrate the bowls than to go out and get you a 4-pack, a 6-pack, a variety pack, whatever you want of High Noon Hard Seltzer. Go out and get it and you will enjoy your bowl.
The peach. Drink it during the Peach Bowl. Do they still have the Peach Bowl?
They absolutely have the Peach Bowl.
I know.
Michigan State and Baylor. No, Michigan State and Pitt.
Every year I'm like, I throw out names of bowls I've watched my entire life and I just keep waiting for somebody to be like, oh, that's not a bowl game anymore. But of course they still have the Peach Bowl. Go get you a High Noon, drink a peach version of it and watch the Peach Bowl.
So I guess for you could drink the grapefruit for the
citrus bowl.
Sure.
There you go, Katie.
That works. And you could drink a mango for the citrus bowl as well.
And a lime.
You drink a lime also for the citrus bowl. Citrus bowl, you're gonna have to bring a lot of money because you're
mango citrus though?
Mango's a citrus, isn't it?
No.
I'm drinking the citrus at the orange bowl.
Oh, good one, Jack.
There is no citrus.
Where would we drink?
Well, yeah, but mango is not citrus.
Lime.
At the citrus bowl.
Okay, so that's more citrusy.
Is a mango a citrus?
No, you got like grapefruits, lemon, lime, oranges, tangerine, nectarine, clementine. Like those are citrus. Is that like that consistency?
Mango is not a citrus.
Mango is not a citrus.
No, it's not.
So you were wrong, Brandon.
Which fruits are citruses?
She just named them.
She said them, but I don't think she knows. She's guessing.
It's like lemon, lime, orange, grapefruit. It's anything that's super acidic. Like
anything that you can have zest from.
Okay.
Oh.
What?
I made that up. I think that sounds about right because you have orange zest, lime.
You know there are 47 citruses?
No, I didn't.
What about watermelon? Where are we having a watermelon?
Well, I'll figure that out. Lemon, grapefruit, mandarin orange, a pomelo, a citron, a tangelo, clementine, a kumquat's a citrus.
Fuck the kumquat.
Yeah, I hate that name so much.
It's
funny, but it's not funny that it's a real food.
If you open up a lemon and look at it, it's all the little pods like that make up the whole slice.
Stop.
That consistency.
Stop.
Oh, sorry.
A watermelon would be. I don't know what bowl you would have for the watermelon.
Watermelon bowl.
All right. What are the flavors? All right, so there's black cherry, there's grapefruit, there's lime,
peach.
That has its own bowl.
Passion fruit.
That's almost certain.
Was there ever the watermelon bowl? Why didn't watermelon ever get a bowl?
It is weird which fruits got bowls and which fruits didn't.
And watermelon, like you can make a bowl out of a watermelon. Like it's like perfect for a bowl game.
Good point, Jack. It's a good point.
You know how after the orange bowl, how you see the athletes eating the orange?
It would be so much better to eat watermelon. Like it's.
I guess that they cut it up. Just imagine the athlete like picking.
Remember, Katie, last year whenever I really, really drunkenly ate an orange in front of you on this podcast, I don't even remember doing that podcast, but I did.
Huh.
What?
I'm looking at defunct bowls. You know, there was a raisin bowl.
Yep.
There was a raisin bowl. There was a salad bowl.
Of course, there was a salad bowl. I mean,
I'm
that makes total sense.
I'm surprised like Sweet Green doesn't have a bowl.
That's a good point.
There was an aluminum
But, like,
bowl.
how does Panera not have a bowl?
How does aluminum have a bowl? That's not an item. I mean, that's like a generic item. That's not a sponsored thing.
Yeah, so is sugar. So is that. Yeah, we named back in
Sugar
the day. We
bowl's
named
different.
them
That's a
generic
nearest.
items.
That's a nearest 6. Aluminum's not a nearest 6 bowl.
But it
But a
could have
rose-
been.
But a rose is not a sponsored thing. It's just called the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, but that's different because those are like iconic bowls, like the
ice bowl
aluminum
used to be
bowl.
played
No, in the 40s, they didn't have a lot of things. They just looked at something and said that's a bowl. An aluminum
Like,
bowl.
like the Idaho potato bowl.
The ice bowl in
Potato
Alaska
bowl is great.
has massive potential. They should bring that back. 2 teams. Oh, sorry, you're going to Alaska to play a bowl game, and it's literally in the ice for our entertainment.
There were 2 dudes playing a bowl in El Paso, Texas. They're like, "What do you want to call it?" I don't know. What's around here? And they looked up, and the sun was there. Sun Bowl.
There used to be the Optimist Bowl, just like you were Optimist.
Yeah.
Pecan
The-
Bowl,
The Corn Bowl.
Pear Bowl.
I still love the potato bowl.
There was
I
the
think that that's
refrigerator
best.
bowl.
Yeah. How was there not a watermelon bowl?
Also, the same way how the potato bowl will be dumping French fries on the winning coach. Apparently, according to Grace Rayner, both Shane Beamer and Mac Brown said they're open to getting mayo dumped on them.
There was the Tobacco Bowl. We got to
Oh, yeah.
get the Tobacco Bowl back. Just
Let's
like-
get the marijuana bowl going,
And the
folks.
MVP of the Tobacco Bowl is just like chat of the game.
Wait, that is a serious. I feel like because we're having more and more sponsorships. How long until we see a naming sponsorship of a bowl that has some kind of weed or like 3
I
Oh,
mean,
that'd be-
imagine you get invited to the marijuana bowl.
That'd be way too objectionable. We do not want objectionable bowl game
course
titles.
not.
Oh, objectionable. Hey, I'll give anybody $1 million if you tell me who's the winningest Tobacco Bowl team ever.
Well, you got that's
You
bad
got-
luck for you because I just happened to be on the Tobacco Bowl's
Yeah,
Wikipedia.
damn.
Ah,
That doesn't count then.
Is it Virginia Tech?
yes, but it's VPI technically, which is Virginia Tech, right?
It's kind of an upset that the Tobacco Bowl, which by the way was around a long time, it was around like 40 years. It was in Virginia, not North Carolina.
I love now that we've been doing
but
it
it wasn't a postseason bowl game, so never mind.
Jack, this just looks like it was just Virginia teams deciding to play.
Yeah, it
They
says it was
wanted
a
a Tobacco
regional
Bowl?
game. It's like the Chick-fil-A preseason game, not preseason, but like first game of the season.
kickoff, Chick-fil-A kickoff. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Casey.
I told you all that today we would do a shorter podcast, and if we're gonna do 30 minutes as an aside on a bowl game, probably not gonna have a shorter podcast, so we should probably move on.
Oh,
Right. Also, Kayce, it's not her flu game. It's in fact her COVID game. She is here with COVID.
I am part of the wave of all of New York City. I don't understand what's happening right now. Literally the entire city has it. I tested negative 6 days in a row. On Friday, finally tested positive, and I think it is what it is. I'm quarantining. I'm not going to go home for Christmas, which sucks. The good news is that I will be out of quarantine with 2 days to spare before we get on the plane to go to the Arizona Bowl. So if I was gonna get it, now's the time. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do on Christmas, but you know what? We'll figure it out when we get there.
We will figure it out. Maybe I'll send you the 6-pack of High Noon or something.
You should. You know what Alex Bennett did today?
No, I don't.
She had her husband dropped it off with my doorman. It's like this big box. It's like this nice Christmas box, but it's like she made gingerbread men, and then she sent icing and like sprinkles and stuff so that like I can make my own gingerbread man cookies while I'm bored as shit with COVID. It's like the nicest thing ever.
she actually did that. I had to come into the office because I'm going to edit the podcast, of course. She brought in like enough cookies just for Big Cat to try for like, I would say hundreds of people in the office. There's 10 yards away from me right now. I think 100 to 200 cookies.
Well, he's also finagling the system. He likes all of them. He just wants her to keep making him cookies because I tried one of her chocolate chip cookies. She also sent in my COVID bundle and they're delicious.
All right. We have 4 items on the agenda today. I prepared the agenda because Casey's got COVID.
Thank
Katie's
you,
upstate
everyone.
And Jack is playing Barstool Game Time there in the studio. So we've got 4 items on the agenda. Number 1 is quarterback transfer. We had one today. Number 2 is going to be I am going to have the BeCAWS list, the BeCAWS award winner. We're going to have the ceremony right here. I have a top 5 and we will indeed unveil the winner. Our favorite moments from the 2021 football season. Now, I've done some thought.
Okay.
Hear me out. Next podcast, we won't get into the favorite moments of the year, favorite everything, because next podcast, I will have a guest for the first time here. We will have a guest. We're interviewing him at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Well, me and Kayce will record half the podcast, and then the guest will be half the podcast. I think that makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then maybe next Sunday when we record again, that's when we will look back at our favorite plays of the year, favorite moments of the year, favorite games of the year, everything like that.
Awards will be next Sunday.
Next week will be the award ceremony. But
wait,
today,
what day is Christmas this year?
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So today we will talk about our favorite moments of the 2021 football season. And in my estimation, that is the moments we experienced throughout college football, me and you, and going through in our travels, or if it happened, in person, whatever. We got that. I would like for everybody to mention their favorite and least favorite fan bases of 2021. Who was the fan base that you got cross-eyed with this year? Who was the fan base that seemed to favor you this year? We will do that. And that's about it.
And I assume, and I know I text this in a group text, but not our team specific. So I can't be like, oh, A&M was my most favorite fan base because obviously that's the case.
I mean, Kayce, that you just saying it out loud is kind of silly.
I have COVID.
Oh, are you going to do that the whole show?
Yeah. That's my favorite thing that PFT's been doing. This whole, now that he also has it, it's like everything he says on Twitter, he's just like, oh, but by the way, I have COVID.
So Bo Nix, an unnecessary roughness staple. I would say Bo Nix is one of the unnecessary roughness day ones. We started the podcast, and then 3 weeks after we started the podcast, he had his big debut against Oregon, and the phrase was born that I'm just so tired of you hearing it, saying it, but if you want to say it one more time.
The legend of Bo Nix.
Yes, please. Bo Nix is now, the legend of Bo Nix has departed Auburn. He is now history at Auburn, and he has announced he is transferring to the University of Oregon, to which I say, what?
What? Yeah, no, that surprised me too. To be honest, it surprised me he was transferring in the first place. I know we've talked about this already, but I did not see that coming, let alone Oregon.
I really thought it was going to end up at Ole Miss, and it was going to be great content for our podcast. Just written in the stars that he was kind of the first star of the podcast, and now he's at Ole Miss. He ends at Ole Miss, but obviously now he's at Oregon. So
what I don't understand about Oregon, which I haven't, I think I've got a pretty good grasp on the transfer portal. They have a 5-star freshman named Ty Thompson. And why would you bring in another starting quarterback? Why not just give it to him? But I guess Dan Lanning, he's got ties to the South. He's seen Bo Nix up close and personal, and now he chooses Bo Nix to come be his starting quarterback, it looks like. So it's very interesting. It's also interesting in the fact that moment, the legend of Bo Nix, you remember what it was? It was when he beat Oregon. Yeah. Right. So I would say that's the high point of Bo Nix.
That feels like that was 10 years ago. But I know that we've talked about it, and obviously there's all the theories out there and whatever, but Brandon, if you were Bo Nix, would you have left Auburn?
Well, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously something is going on that you and I don't know about. Obviously something either went wrong or he just didn't enjoy playing for the coach or whatever. I mean, he's been there 3 years. He's the unquestioned starter. If he comes back, he's still the unquestioned starter. So something obviously went sideways.
I don't think he didn't like Bobo. Bobo got fired. He was the offensive coordinator. But then I guess his father, who's also an Auburn legend, not really a legend, but he is. He is? Okay. This was reported from one of Auburn's pay-for sites. So they usually have pretty good sources. I guess he went to Brian Harsin and demanded a list of things for Bo's final year at Auburn, and Brian Harsin pretty much told him to fuck off. And then Bo was like, okay, it's time to go. So I think Gus kind of was like with Bo and let him do a lot more. Brian Harsin is, I mean, he's not, this is different. I don't think it's just he didn't get along with Harsin as well. I think that's why he left.
Well, and now he's gone. And now we're in an era where quarterbacks leave easier than they've ever left. And you have opportunity to leave easier than you've ever left. And that's what college football is. And that's fine. So looking at the transfer portal, we have, as far as quarterbacks go, there's thousands of players in the portal that we'll see every position get upgraded or downgraded at certain schools. But now we know these. We know Bo Nix to Oregon. We know Spencer Rattler to South Carolina. We know Dylan Gabriel to UCLA. Max Johnson to Texas A&M, which just still boggles my mind. Adrian Martinez to Kansas State. Quinn Ewers to Texas. And there are others that exist, but those I think are the big names. And
still Zach Calzada. We don't know.
Okay. Still in the portal. You've got guys like Cameron Ward, who was a freshman phenom and incarnate word this year. You've got Keaton Slovis from USC, and you have Zach Calzada from Texas A&M. So I know there's more, but those are the highlights of the transfer portal shaken down as far as quarterbacks go this year.
The Max Johnson thing makes no sense to me. I mean, I guess it's because he's older, but like we were just talking about how, Zach Calzada, who obviously didn't have a perfect season by any stretch of the imagination, but did beat Alabama, goes into the transfer portal because they've got Connor Wigman and Haynes King sitting there. And then we add Max Johnson. Like what the fuck? Like that just, I guess I'm missing something.
Well, with Max Johnson, I think you can use him for 1 year. You bring him in and he can start 1 year while you get Connor Weigman ready. You assume he won't be ready to start as a freshman, a true freshman. So you use Max Johnson for 1 year. I can get that.
What happens to Haynes King then?
Oh, I'm nothing. He'll transfer next year. I mean, he's done.
That's just so wild. Like not just because of A&M, just in general, the transfer portals with quarterbacks now and just all those things that you just named. Like watching Spencer Rattler next year at South Carolina is going to be, it's going to confuse me is what it's going to do. Like Bo Nix at Oregon. Like,
I kind of think it's awesome.
It's awesome for sure. Do we still get to make fun of Bo Nix next year?
Yeah. Okay. Why wouldn't we?
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot easier to make fun of him when he's in the SEC, I guess, but
we'll just have to stay up later to do it.
That's fine. Well, we watch all the games anyways, Brandon. That's what we do here.
Kayce, hi.
Hi, Brandon.
You know what I'm all about these days?
Being comfy as fuck.
Wow, you've actually got it. Yes.
I was going to say. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say comfy AF, but yes, I like being comfortable. Who doesn't like being comfortable?
I love being comfortable. It's the holiday season. You're eating a lot more. You're drinking a lot more. Who doesn't want to be comfortable in your clothes?
Also, I don't know when I got to this point, but I think I wear a hoodie every day of my life now. And some of the best hoodies in the world, they're made by Bare Bottom Clothing. They got the stretch joggers, the tech tees, the hoodies, but this is the winter. It's cold. Their hoodies are like a warm blanket of marshmallow pillows. And they are just wonderful to put on. So comfortable.
I can tell you when your life changed, when you started working at Barstool, because that's the same thing as me. My closet is like, I have like a whole side of dresses that just haven't been worn in forever. My hoodie section just keeps growing and growing. Bare Bottom has been sending me more. Love a good Bare Bottom hoodie. And also and I've said this, their long sleeve like t-shirts that they have. I like to get them oversized. I can wear them with leggings. So girls, if you're listening, and they're great, but they're also really good for like the around the waist tie look. Bare Bottom, they've just got everything for everybody.
I got to start doing some more push-ups so I can look good in a long sleeve t-shirt, but that's why I like the hoodies, because they cover up the, the chest. Bare Bottom is on a mission to make the most comfortable made-to-last menswear around. It's soft and stretchy. Gear stretches to your body and your schedule. You'll love their pants, all made with super stretchy elastic waistbands during those big holiday meals. We're all looking to add a little more comfort to the holidays, and that's why Bare Bottom makes the perfect gift for friends and family. For a limited time, you can snag their highly rated joggers, shorts, and briefs at big discounts with their special bundles and mystery packs. You can get 10% off your first order. Your first order by going to barebottomclothing.com/Walker. Walker. That's my name. Again, that's BEAR, like the animal, bottomclothing.com/Walker, barebottomclothing.com/Walker. Now, moving on. Let's go ahead and let me get my BeCAWS list ceremony up, the BeCAWS Award ceremony. And these are guys that should have been invited to the Heisman ceremony or should have won the Heisman and didn't because of where they played.
Should we do a drum roll? Wait, should we do a drum roll?
Well, no, I'm going to go number 5 to number 1.
Okay.
So I'll start at number 5. Once again, the Heisman ceremony, or not, the BeCAWS ceremony held at Anthony's Good Food Market on Main Street in West Point, Mississippi. You can get catfish with fried crawfish sauce, or catfish with crawfish sauce. You can get some fried crawfish tails, whatever you want. Have a good time. Stop at Frank's Package and get you some liquor because they don't have liquor at Anthony's. So number 5 on the BeCAWS list, and there are guys like Kenny Pickett took a lot of guys out of the BeCAWS list this year because Kenny Pickett made it to the Heisman ceremony, which proved if you were at a Pitt or better, you could make it. So that kind of took a lot of guys out. Okay. BeCAWS list number 5. His name is Devin Tompkins. Devin Tompkins, a receiver for Utah State, finished second in the country with 102 catches, 10 touchdowns, 1,700 yards, and nobody heard about a word of it.
1,700 yards.
That's second in the country, behind another BeCAWS list honoree. Number 4, his name is Stephen Jones, defensive back, Stephen Jones Jr. He was second in the country with 5 interceptions this year. He had 3 pick sixes. Nobody else had more than one. He was a menace. Stephen Jones Jr., App State, defensive back, would never get anywhere near the Heisman and, didn't really have a Heisman season, but certainly this is worth talking about. Number 3 is a guy we will see at the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. He is a freshman. Central Michigan running back Lou Nicholls. He rushed for more yards than Kenneth Walker. He rushed for more yards than everybody. He led the country in rushing. 1,710 yards, 15 touchdowns. Lou Nicholls, running back, Central Michigan. He finished 3rd in the BeCAWS list. BeCAWS runner-up is Jareth Stearns, receiver from Western Kentucky. Would anybody, because I know you don't know, because I didn't know, would anybody like to guess how many catches Jareth Stearns had in 2021?
Katie reacted to that very quickly.
He did.
Well, I had 2 names I thought was going to be your final 2, and then it wasn't. So
right.
That was mine.
Oh.
Could anybody hazard a guess? I've already told you second place was 102. So if second place is 102, how many catches do you think the guy who led, Jareth Stearns, had this year?
147.
That's a wild guess. That's a lot.
I know. You said to guess.
Why did you guess that many?
It's just the first number that popped into my head.
Why didn't you guess like 112?
I don't know. It's the first number that popped into my head. You made such a big deal about it. I felt like it had to be like ridiculous.
What it is ridiculous.
About 150.
See?
Katie, quit Googling, Katie.
Kayce was close.
I know, but you were too close. You were supposed
that was the first number that popped into my head.
Stop gaslighting Casey. Okay.
No, she was supposed to say 115 or 120. I was like, no, it's 150.
Yeah, stop gaslighting me, asshole.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I don't know what gaslighting really is. I just hear people say
it. Made her feel crazy even though she was close to being right. It's just
No, she shouldn't have been right. She should have been wrong.
I just brought up a number. I literally just
You're gaslighting right now.
The plan was for her to be wrong.
But the plan is your plan is now gaslighting me. I just said the first number that came in my head.
Okay.
And I thought you were gonna be like, no, it's 115. Why would you get so many?
Well, the runner-up, Jareth Stearns, had 150 catches. That's absurd. That's 48 more than anybody else in the country. He had 17 touchdowns, tied for the most in the country, and 1,900 yards, 200 more than anybody else in the country. And the winner is obvious, right? The winner's obvious. We saw him yesterday. Yesterday break the record. Can I?
Yeah, sorry, continue. I have a question when you're done.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Katie.
Kenneth Walker, where is he on your list then?
Well, he finished 6th in the Heisman. He was in the mix for the Heisman, so he's not a BeCAWS guy.
So he went to Michigan State.
Yeah, because guys, Katie, are guys that won't ever make the Heisman ceremony or the Heisman list because
But in the whole beginning of the segment, Brandon said, well, Pitt.
Yeah.
Bailey.
Well, he said because he was at Pitt, that means Michigan State's ahead of Pitt. So he should have, like, if he was that good, he should have got there.
Kenneth Walker was in the Heisman mix. He was right there. I mean, he was the first guy that got left out of the ceremony. So, and the winner, who yesterday set the all-time record for most passing yards in a season, 5,967, set the record for most touchdowns in a season, 62 touchdowns. His name is Bailey Zappee.
Bailey Zappee.
To Western Kentucky from Houston Baptist, just like Kenneth Stearns or Jared Stearns did. He did it also. And of course, he did it against lesser competition, but he did it in one less game than Joe Burrow did.
I hate that shit. I hate it.
Why?
I know, but I saw people trying to do that on Twitter. Like, look at Bailey Zappee versus Joe Burrow. We're talking about Joe Burrow potentially being one of the best in the country. Joe Burrow played in the SEC.
It's fine, but the fact remains, he had better numbers than Joe Burrow in one less game.
Yeah.
I mean, so you would put him ahead of Joe Burrow?
I never said that. Didn't say that. I'm just saying.
There were people that were trying to make that argument yesterday, and I was like, these two are not the same. We're not comparing the same things. It's like comparing, no offense to Bailey Zappee, because he had a hell of a day, hell of a season.
Can I just stop you? You're just killing the premise of the BeCAWS list.
Yeah.
You're killing the BeCAWS list.
I have COVID.
Fair enough.
This was supposed to be Bailey Zappee's moment.
Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hold on. Let me
Kayce's
rewind.
Rant about exactly why he's not invited to the real one.
Let me rewind. Bailey Zappee, I am so happy for you that you won the because list, or as Brandon Walker would say, the because list, because he cannot say because the right way. Congratulations. 2021, you are a winner, sir, and I am a loser.
2021 BeCAWS winner, Bailey Zappee. I got to get the boy a trophy.
You got
Zero FBS offers out of high school for him.
Houston Baptist, and that was it.
Yeah, so not even that many FCS.
Did you guys hear Kayce called herself a loser? Because she has COVID, so she's a loser.
I mean, if I'm sticking to y'all, I was waiting for one of y'all to say it since I said it way back in 2020. Although I will point out that, like, and we've talked about it on this podcast, like I'm vaxxed, got both shots. I am a vaccinated human being. This new variant doesn't give a fuck about your vaccination. So I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, there's a shocker. Okay, so here we go. Let's do favorite moments of the 2021 football season as seen through our eyes. As seen through our eyes.
Most obvious one?
Yeah, go ahead. You get.
I mean, the most obvious one for me, I mean, everybody will know this, is A&M beating Alabama.
Yes.
I mean,
I thought we were doing moments.
Like me personally.
I thought we were doing moments that we experienced, like in person.
Yeah. Jack, I didn't know what to say. Kayce hasn't been able to grasp this yet. I didn't explain it very well. It's our moments, Kayce. It's moments that we went through.
Okay. Then let me rephrase it. I was sitting on my couch with a glass of wine by myself. See? Yes.
I think Jack, I think that works.
Thank you. I was sitting on
all right. Couch. You know what? It's her podcast.
But we said experiencing it ourselves. So I'm sitting on the couch and I'm sitting there, and we had been working all day. I think we had been on the road at that point. I'm sitting there and I'm like turning it on, like, this cannot be happening. I had a glass of wine that I almost spilled all over my brand new couch. I had to set it down to make a video. I didn't know what to do with my hands when Seth Small hit that field goal, and I was riding fucking high. So the moment itself created a moment for me.
I got a spoiler alert. Next week when we do the actual moments of the year, the video of his wife and his family watching him kick that field goal is going to be very, very high for me.
Oh, very high for sure. But that would be my most obvious one. I assume I'm not going to give all of mine. We're going to have a conversation here.
So but
I understand the assignment. I just didn't say it the right way.
All right. So here I got 5, and I guess I'll just give one. But me and Katie actually experienced this one together. I had a migraine headache at the time. She did not take ample care of me, and I got sick. But when Jump Around hit in Chicago, when we were at the and Kayce, I think you stayed home. You were sick. You were at the hotel. But we've seen Jump Around for Wisconsin games. In fact, earlier this year, the first game back in Camp Randall, when we saw it on TV and Gus Johnson went crazy, it was awesome. That was a moment, but I had never seen it in the stadium in person. I still haven't seen it in Camp Randall in person, but we were in Chicago and Notre Dame fans, we were actually in the Notre Dame section. Kind of, we were on their end and we were watching Notre Dame fans do this weird lame ass shit they were doing. And all of a sudden that music hits and we see half the stadium just go crazy. Katie, that was awesome. You remember that?
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm about to go check. I think that was the first time I've been in a stadium since COVID. And just having the full stands, like I remember Notre Dame, they like lifted all the kids up like for touchdowns and whatnot, just like the whole atmosphere. At one point there was a wave that went around. You're like, sports are back. Well, famous last words now, but it was just an awesome environment.
I'll just keep going, and I don't know how we're going to do this. So I'll just say mine, and then y'all can say yours.
Well, you're probably going to, one of ours, I'm sure, is going to overlap. Maybe multiple.
Yeah, I'm sure there will. And this is not a competition or anything. So I'm just going to say them. Standing pregame at Tennessee. You talk about a sports are back moment. Like, I've been to games at Tennessee, but standing there with 105,000 people around us and watching Tennessee get ready for football and how hungry. Now, that night devolved into a mess for Tennessee. They ended up throwing golf balls at people, but whatever. We were standing there when they ran out the power tee, and that just felt like exactly what college football is supposed to be like, and we were lucky enough to be there.
Yeah, that was first of all, it was the first time I had been on a sideline since I was on the sidelines for my job. So that was a cool moment. We got to see Cole Kublik, shout out him, who, by the way, I don't know. I mean, this means probably nothing I don't know if anybody on this podcast watches Succession. He was working Succession quotes in yesterday. Phenomenal. Yeah. But seeing him, but the coolest thing about that, other than the environment itself, and like you and I have experienced that, was watching Dan and Dave experience Tennessee for the first time. Like, Dave literally looked like a kid. Like, he was standing there just like in awe of what was happening. Of course, it being a night game, we had done a great show that day. But Brandon, micro moment of that day, when you and I walked all the way around this from sideline to sideline, because I wanted to go meet Smokey, and the entire Tennessee student section started yelling at us. We started taking selfies with people. Like, that was a really cool moment too, because it was like, oh shit, people actually know who we are, and I'm about to go pet a dog.
That was also the trip we saw Kirk Herbstreit on the tarmac.
That was a big time trip. The only travesty of that was that our normal big plane was broken down that day. So when we like pulled up next to their like wheels up jet, we looked like the assholes, but you know, whatever. That
was also the only time I got in trouble this year. I got pulled into, I got pulled into, yeah, it's the only time I got in trouble, like whatever happened later. But I got pulled into Dave's office for something that happened that day. Oh, you ripped the helmet apart and you threw it. Yeah. I broke the Ole Miss helmet on the concrete into two parts, and I threw it into the crowd, and you shouldn't throw a helmet into a crowd is what is the lesson. I mean, also the lesson is like, apparently you can just rip helmets apart, because that was. Well, I gave it great force. I was standing up there. I saw it. So there's a couple more, and then I'll get to the number one. Seeing Center Street at Virginia Tech, I think that's the name of the street. I've experienced tailgating a lot of places. This was a whole different animal. I never even knew Virginia Tech had this hidden tailgating party scene. It wasn't a tailgate. It was just Center Street's just where all the college kids go before the game. And it was wild. It's one of the most impressive scenes I've ever seen in college football. Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to go to that, because the way everybody was talking about it was like, it was insane. This is second place, but the last one before I get to number one. Indiana was a great trip. Now, Indiana the game sucked. We didn't even go to the game. They got killed. But seeing Pup Punk in Indiana and experiencing downtown Bloomington, Indiana, great town, great. Me and Dan actually walked the campus that day. Like, seeing Pup Punk and watching people come out in downtown Bloomington, Indiana, light up like it did, it was awesome. Yeah, no, that Pup Punk was absolutely insane. Is it Kilroy's? That's where we were, right? Kilroy's? I think so. Yeah, like that was by far the best part of that week, because I mean, the show was, no offense, from a crowd standpoint, by far the worst crowd that we had. But they also knew they were going to get their shit kicked in by Ohio State. And it was our worst location. We were 2 miles away from the stadium. Yeah, we were way too far away. They knew they were going to get their shit kicked in. But Pup Punk was lovely. I would assume you and I have the exact same
top one. But another one that I would like to add in there is just the fact that we were able to go. I mean, it's kind of like a cheesy thing, but just the fact we were able to go back to live stadiums. Yeah. I know we didn't get to do that in 2020. We did all of our shows from the studio, and while that was fine and all good, whatever, the feeling of being able to like all meet up, get on an airplane and go and know that there was going to be students. And on top of that, having that year where, you know, Dan did his whole video game thing with Coach Doug's, you know, obviously made Barstool much bigger. Dave got immensely more famous throughout the last couple of years. So seeing how big the crowds were this year in comparison to 2019 was awesome.
Yeah, and it wasn't just going to games either. I mean, college football isn't about just the game. It's about, you know, going to Stock and Barrel restaurant in Knoxville 6 hours before the game, and it's full of SEC fans watching. I remember LSU and Florida were playing. We were all watching it. We were having great burgers. Like, it's just the whole scene was back. But the craziest scene we saw all year, and my number one, is what happened in the parking lot of an apartment complex in East Lansing, Michigan, a couple of months ago. It was 7-0 Michigan State against 7-0 Michigan. And I didn't know you could get that many people to come to a college football pregame show, especially at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, we literally, I don't know why it gets light so late there, but we drove to that in the dark.
Katie and I were talking about that. Like Mike, our security guard, picked us up from, well, you talk about experiences, that whole hotel experience. Motel experience. Like we don't even have to get into that. But like we said that the whole way, like when we were driving to the Senate. I mean, granted, we were going a little bit earlier than you guys, but like, why the fuck is it not light outside yet? Like, what are we talking about? It's like 8 o'clock, but and I cannot remember what the apartments are called now, which I'm upset about because I always remember every time people ask me. But like that is the scene there. Like that's where they burn the couches.
The number one moment of this football season, from my perspective, of what we saw was the set. We were already sitting on the stage the second Dave Portnoy walked out, double birds, and you've got. I don't think it's unfair to say there were thousands of people in that parking lot. I think there were thousands of people in that parking lot, and just the feeling, the emotion, and everything, like it was unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, no, definitely thousands. There's no question there wasn't. I mean, and that also, so like, you know, you talk about him flipping the birds and like that's like when he winds up and everything. But again, and like, you know, people that love ESPN try to like, you know, poo-poo all over this argument, but there is no argument. You take the aerial views from our show, you take the aerial views from College Game Day. We had more people there. We are, even if you want to go like number by number, like if you want to count by head, whatever, we still had more, but the atmosphere there was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. We were sitting on the bus, you know, prepping for it. It was so loud outside, and Dante on DJing, it was so loud from the people that the bus was actually shaking. And that to me was the moment of just like, and not only for us, but just like, you know, it was a huge rivalry game, meant a ton, both undefeated, like you mentioned. That was like, this is college football. This is not only college football, this is Barstool college football. This is Dave getting to play the villain. It was huge. Why'd you make that face at me?
I didn't. It wasn't me.
You made a face at me.
No, what? I didn't make a face. You have COVID. I think it's just COVID.
Okay, whatever.
So let's transition, and this is an exercise we can all participate in. Actually, Katie, did you have a moment? Jack, I'm not trying to exclude you, but I you know what it is. Yeah.
My moment was probably the Michigan trip, because that was my first time ever traveling with the college football show. And yeah, I didn't travel. Ann Arbor. Yeah, not Michigan State, Michigan. It was just like the environment, seeing that, especially like, I love UNC. UNC is great. UNC football does not know how to tailgate. Like, and that was Michigan. We didn't even see the majority or like the best lots. Just that environment, the Big Ten, and just seeing like Barstool's power and reach, and just seeing the crowd, and that crowd pales in comparison to Michigan State. And that was just like, and like people even knew who I was. And I'm like, you have to be in the weeds to know who I am. And I'm just like, it is really cool just to see the impact that Barstool has.
I mean, I know, Brandon, you weren't with Barstool yet, but like that was also like a cool full circle moment too, because that's the first time we ever did. Like, I know they did the show with Pat McAfee the year before that just never worked before I got there. But our first live show in the iteration that we have now was at that house in Ann Arbor. And Blake Griffin was there, which is so weird now, like looking back, like that's the famous, like where Tommy tries to dap him up and he ignores him. But like how much bigger the crowd was, one, but then two, when we're getting into our security's car and we literally have kids jumping on top of it, like we're the fucking Beatles. Like, and I mean, obviously Dave is Dave, like there, you know, there's no doubt, but it was still just so cool to see how in 2018 people were excited and they showed up and it was cool. 2021, it was like we were a completely different band. We were a completely different show. So that was an awesome moment for sure.
All right, now we'll end the show with this exercise. So again, we'll have our full awards next week.
Well, I have a shit list too at some point.
Well, you can end the show with a shit list then, okay? But before that, we will end with this exercise as a group. You know what else I love, Smith?
Hooters.
Well, I was going to say beautiful women, and
well.
Then I was going to say chicken wings. Then I was going to say beer, and then I was going to say watching the game.
Well, okay, guess where you can do all of those things?
Hooters.
And I've said it before, best fried pickles in the game. Right now, bowl season, there's so many games going on. You've got all the NFL games going on. This really is a nice little like a perfect storm of sports around this time of year because you've just got all of them happening at once. You go to Hooters, you can watch all of them.
Hooters is your go-to spot for killer wings, ice cold beer, but football season means all the big games on all the big screens. It's the only place that has the world famous Hooters girls. They love football just as much as you, and they're better looking than your friends. And that, my friends, is absolute truth.
That's it. When they walk through the office, because they come visit us sometimes, everybody just stops what they're doing and just stares.
Hooters has game day specials to keep you hydrated and filled up with your Hooters favorites all season long. If you can't make it to Hooters for the game, you can still get your Hooters fix at home and save $10 with code BARSTOOL when you order online. Again, check out Hooters.com/Barstool for details. Hooters online and code BARSTOOL, you get $10 off. So we all have, every year is different. Every single year has its own personality. And I know Jack especially, I think, probably agrees with this. You enter a season and you'll have a different feud with a different fan base that you didn't see coming. Like certain years are the year of this feud, certain years are the year of this feud. And at the same time, you'll have some takes and you'll be like accepted by a fan base and you'll be like treated like you know what you're doing by a fan base that you hadn't before. So we're going to do favorite and least favorite fan bases of 2021. Are you guys ready?
The sad thing is, and this is a bigger picture of social media, it's so much easier to pick out the negative than the positive. It is so much easier for me to rattle off all the fucking assholes that I had to deal with on Twitter than the people that were nice to me.
Well, why don't we start with positive and end with negative?
Okay. Well, okay, that's fine.
I'll start with my positives. Okay. I had two fan bases that, there were two fan bases, especially with now having the Brandon Walker college football show. I'm able to put a lot of clips out there that get viral and the good Barstool accounts are able to use me and put me out there and with great favor. I had two fan bases that I got along with for most of the year. Michigan State loved me for my Michigan takes all year and calling them to win the game. And then Oklahoma State has really come on recently as I called them. I said they were going to win Bedlam and everything. And I said, and Barstool, Oklahoma, whatever they is, Pokes, whatever, he's featured me a lot. So I had a good season.
One of our better people, so that makes sense.
I had a good season with Michigan State and Oklahoma State. Those are my two that I had a good season with. Kayce, what about you?
I had one really good week with Illinois. When they first won, I had a great week with them because I love Brett Bielema. So shout out them. Obviously my number one was Michigan. The Viceroys at Michigan are great. I was riding the Michigan train the whole time. I was an Ohio State hater. So I would say Michigan and the fans loved it. And then of course there's the fucking haters that are like, oh, you only like Michigan because of Dave. That's not true. Obviously I got to go to Ann Arbor for the first time because of Barstool, but I would say Michigan. And then I'm going to give an honorable mention moment, which I can't believe I'm about to do, but it's the truth. When they announced that Oklahoma and Texas were coming to the SEC, the Texas fan base was very, very much on my side of let's not cry about this. Like now that I am putting this in like, I don't know, like those ticking time bomb like moments. Like I don't know exactly how long I would put that time period. It's very, very, very small. But for that small amount of time when I came out and said, hey, everybody, let's stop crying. Let's stop trying to stop this. Like, let's just do this. The Texas fans were on my side with it and were very nice to me. They were nicer to me than A&M fans were that day. So shout out you guys. Now you guys have been pricks the rest of the year, but I'll take it.
Jack, who did you get on with in 2021?
I honestly can't really think of anybody. Like, I mean, like, I guess Michigan a little bit, Georgia fans a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't really have anybody that I just like was a buddy with this year for sure. None.
Katie, did you have any buddies?
No, I don't think we had any buddies because I didn't really put out that many like big takes like that or get in arguments. But my favorite right now are Michigan, Michigan State, NC State, and Arkansas because they sold the most merch for us.
Aha.
Oh, that's
nice. Yeah. Fun fact: Penn State, the powerhouse, 5th.
So Katie's all about the business.
I get a bonus off of it, so yeah.
All right. So I guess I will lead us off with the negative. My least favorite fan base of 2021, and they held off a furious charge from Alabama. Boy, Alabama fans were kind of quiet about my Alabama take all year. They didn't really gravitate to it. And the second they beat Georgia, they showed up like they predicted it the whole time. I had like 3 Alabama fans in my mentions all year. Then I had 300 the night they beat Georgia acting like, oh, you stupid redneck. Shut up. Whatever. They had a late surge, but they didn't quite make it. And I think for the second year in a row, the second year in a row, my least favorite fan base is the dumbest fan base in America. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks. Just a dumb collection of human beings.
Brandon, I'm doubling down on that. Holy shit. They were my least favorite too. They, like, let us not forget, not only was I feuding with them throughout the season, I was feuding with them in like the spring too. I don't even remember what came up in the spring, but I remember, and yes, I'm going to bring this up again. Sorry. But like when I was sitting at, I was out on the Succession set. So that was in like April. And I was tweeting with Arkansas fans. What could have possibly happened then for that to have happened?
I have no idea. I don't really remember, but they will always just pop up.
In April, I was arguing with Arkansas fans all night.
In April, they probably just understood a take you made in November of last year.
That must have been what it was. Yeah. Like, no, I because I was doing the whole, like, I don't give a shit about your wins, especially before I was, like pre-1960, let alone before I was born. But all year they're just, and of course, us losing to them too. Like I had Arkansas fans in my mentions up until the last game of the year that was like, Arkansas broke your program. It's like, hey guys, yeah, A&M didn't have the best year. A&M also went out and beat Alabama after beating you guys. Or after losing to you guys. So shut the fuck up.
All right, Jack, I know you got some that you were afoul with. I think I know your answer, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, it's Michigan State. Like Michigan State fans, low, like 70 IQ. They never understood anything. They continuously thought they won the entire season because they won a game in October. Like, good for them. That was a great win against Michigan. But guess who's playing in the big games now? Not you guys. You guys are playing in a bowl game with like half of your roster. You compared Aiden Hutchinson that finished second in Heisman to Jacob like Polzinski or whatever his name is. That's ridiculous. It was from the start. Michigan State had a great season. They probably exceeded expectations the most out of any team in the nation, but they were fraudulent when they were undefeated. And I said that. I told that to their 70 IQ fan base, the 70 IQ Spartan tribe, and they didn't listen. And I get it. They got that win over Michigan, but then they just fell apart. So but outside of that, I mean, like always, like UMass is just a joke of a fan base. I'm trying to think of anybody else. I don't really have anybody else outside of that.
I love that Jack just says that with such like a calm tone. Like there's just like not like he doesn't emote at all. He's just like, hey, you guys are fucking stupid.
Straight facts, homie. Katie, got anybody?
I know Katie's.
I would say Florida State, but that's more a recent thing. I did say so. The context, I basically like I wasn't aware that their AD was gonna get fired. He was interim, so I made a joke about Mike Norvell shitting his pants with the AD, and they came for my ass. Like, yeah, I was uninformed, so I'm not gonna put them on the list. That's on me. But like, calm down. But they don't officially make the list. They're an honorable mention. I don't really have one. Like, I don't think I had, like, yes, I had a fight with Arkansas, but in my defense, I call them inbred, so I don't blame them. So that's on me, hand up. But yeah, there really wasn't any singular fan base. I certainly had little spouts, but no year in, year out thing. I mean, I'm pretty level-headed. I don't say dumb stuff on Twitter most of the time.
I say dumb stuff, but Florida State, I think you should put on there just because, like we mentioned last podcast, like, Florida State has come after all of our asses for different things, and Florida State's still losing their minds. Now they're like trying to celebrate because, and we'll get to that because of what happened at the Celebration Bowl. But I mean, obviously, you know, Arkansas is my number one for 2021, all of 2021. Again, I have no idea. I wish I could remember, again, foggy brain, what was happening in April for that to have been a thing. But well, I mean, one of the worst fan bases, and Brandon, I know you've gone back and forth with them too. Obviously, I'm going to be biased. Texas is always terrible. Texas is always, I mean, they are just like, you know, they hate me, which is fine. You know, I'm an Aggie, and like, they obviously had a really bad year, but like, I'm not even going to say his name on this podcast because I don't even want to give him clout. But like their leader, who is like, oh, if we lose to Kansas, I'm not going to tweet anymore. And it's like, but you're still tweeting out facts all the time. Aggie Fact Thursday or whatever the bullshit it is. It's like, bro, you're sitting on your couch. You're not even going to a bowl game. Like,
yeah, like, does he have a full-time job, or is that all he does? Like, once you're out of college, that can be a side hobby. Like, you need to have a job.
I think that they may have a podcast. I don't know. But beside the point, it's like Texas fans could not like wrap their head around the fact that they suck this year. And then they go out and get Quinn Ewers. Great. Congratulations. That's a big pickup for you. They've all of a sudden won the fucking national championship again. So I know that I am biased because I'm in it more and more because I am an Aggie. But I think, Brandon, if you can help me out a little bit as a non-Aggie, Texas fans can be the worst on Twitter sometimes.
Oh yeah, they're bad. Yeah, they're absolutely terrible. I mean, and they're the second that anything good happens to them, they just show up like nothing bad's happened all year. They lose to Kansas, they go quiet for 3 weeks. Quinn Ewers commits to them. National championship celebrations on again. Like it's weird. They're a weird group. But then again, you guys are a cult, so it is what it is.
Well, we are. And also, like, you know, to be fair to all people that are listening, before we make everybody mad,
no,
all of our fan bases are fucking crazy.
Not mine.
Sir. Look at Katie's face.
I won a national title this year.
Well, yeah, but you're not the
in a revenue sport.
Yeah, there's revenue in baseball.
I'm just saying, all of our fan bases are crazy. Depending on who you ask, who you get in. I mean, I got into it with my own fan base whenever Texas was moving to the SEC. Like I mentioned earlier, Aggie fans were coming after me. Remember, I had an Aggie.
Stop tying. Nobody ties their hoodie strings.
Can you relax for a second?
Sorry.
I have COVID.
All right. You got a shit list?
Oh boy, do I have a shit list. Now it's not gonna, now for people who are listening that might have missed last episode, I need you to go back. I need you to listen to Brandon's shit list because I re-listened to it. Still is the Gene Chizik shit list by you is a top 10 moment of this podcast, not just in this season, in all the years that we've done this together. But my shit list, my random middle of the bowl season shit list, all of these people who were celebrating the fact that Jackson State lost their bowl game yesterday. Yes, they got their asses kicked by South Carolina State. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They look terrible. Deion's son looks bad at quarterback. Fine. The amount of people that I had in my mentions, not only just about how, you know, my friendship with Deion, but about us on this show being like, oh, he's going to be the next head coach of a big D1 school. Like, oh, ha, 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 look at you. Can I remind everybody that Nick Saban, and I'm not comparing Deion and Nick Saban, but can I remind everybody that Nick Saban lost to ULM in 2007 with Alabama's talent? It's such bullshit. Like, these people are coming out of the woodworks. Like, oh, look, it's all about Deion. It's all about this. Like, first of all, those players love playing for Deion. There's no question about that. You can see that. Like, he's Deion Sanders. He's going to garner that attention. But when they lost that game, and my mentions were all about like, oh, you think he could go get a great job now? Name one good or great head college football coach that's not lost a game they shouldn't have lost. And by the way, they're still the SWAC champions. They lost a bowl game. We watched Georgia, who should have made the college football playoffs a few years ago, lose to Texas in a bowl game because they just didn't give a fuck. Like, these things happen. And I'm like, so now all of a sudden it's like an anti-Deion Sanders thing? And it's an anti-us thing because we like Deion Sanders? Fuck you guys. Like, watch football one time. They lost a bowl game. He'll be just fine.
Pretty good shit list.
Thank you. It was bullshit though. Like, and also for everybody that's listening, I'm sure everybody that listens to this podcast is a little bit more understanding. Like, Deion taking those walks yesterday is like not just like, oh, he had foot surgery. Like, this man almost lost his life. Like, he had 10% chance of ever walking again. And he took a step. He's like, oh, he just had fucking foot surgery. Like, let's do it for Deion Sanders. Like, you guys are just haters. Like, people are just haters. But take all of that off the table. The celebration of them losing yesterday was just like, guess what, fellas? Travis Hunter's still going to Jackson State. Guess what, fellas? He's still Deion Sanders, and you guys just have to fucking deal with it.
I mean, it is the Celebration Bowl. All right, that's a good ending point. We'll have our awards next week. We'll have a guest on Thursday's podcast, which we'll record Wednesday. We'll release Thursday morning. We'll get into.
Don't downplay it. Don't downplay it. Just in case people missed last episode, this guest is huge for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about the guest. I'm very excited about the guest.
This is a worlds collide for you.
It is. And of course. I don't want to tell you who the guest is, but we will be releasing the podcast on Thursday, which is a new day for us. So maybe you can figure it out. Jack, was that pretty good?
That was good. I mean, like, Katie and Kayce have no idea what you mean by that, but
right.
Anybody that does, it's pretty obvious now, but I'm not going to say it because, like, you'll know. Yeah, it's a new day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, y'all ready to go?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, that is Kayce and the other two. That's Katie and Jack, and that's me. That's Unnecessary Roughness.